I'd like to call the special assessments hearing meeting to order. Is everybody ready? Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Paul.
Here.
Vice Mayor Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember Whitman.
Here.
Councilmember Hatton. Councilmember Starkey.
Here.
Mr. Lemack.
Here.
Mr. Lewis. Here. Mr. Holste. Here. Mr. Sherwin.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to excuse Councilmember Hatton?
So moved.
Second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. This will be an open public hearing meeting, and you'll be invited to speak as I get to that particular point. We're going to do the first one is the fire protection assessment. Mr. Sherwin, would you please read the resolution by title?
Yes, Madam Mayor. A resolution of the Town of Davie, Florida relating to the provision of fire protection services, facilities, and programs in the Town of Davie, Florida, reimposing fire protection assessments against assessed property located within the Town of Davie for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023, approving the rate of assessment, approving the assessment roll, and providing an effective date.
Thank you very much. If there are any members of the public who wish to speak on the fire assessment fee, if you've completed a speaker form, you may come up to the microphone. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Is there any conversation from Town Council? Okay. Yes.
Just quickly, I do want, for members of the public, we have had workshops on these issues, and this is what led up to us making the necessary improvements for our fire department to maintain our ISO rating of 1, which also offsets, if you really think about it, your insurance will be discounted because of it. So the service is required, and that's why we're, as hard as it is for us to do that, we're doing it. So thank you. Thank you to staff.
Could I have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Second. And a second, thank you. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Starkey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
Mayor Paul.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Number 2 is the solid waste service assessment. Mr. Sherwin, would you read the resolution by title?
Yes, Madam Mayor. A resolution of the Town of Davie, Florida relating to the collection and disposal of solid waste in the Town of Davie, Florida, reimposing solid waste service assessments against residential property located within the Town of Davie for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023, approving the rate of assessment, approving the assessment roll, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, sir. If there are any members of the public who wish to speak and you fill out a speaker form, you can come forward at this time.
I have it in my hand. Can I ask a question? If I hand it in now?
It's a public hearing. You can come up and...
Hand in a specific person?
We'll take it, yeah.
Okay. I wanted to ask
Just state your name and address, please.
Sure. Scott Kaplan, 1526 Southwest 98th Lane, Davie, 33324. Regarding the proposed assessment for the garbage, and I was speaking with him before the meeting, a couple things in the last 2 years since the garbage company was changed, and with recycling not being feasible, we've read some things online as well. It's not just Davie, it's the county. I know everyone's having issues with the cost of recycling and with the benefits, but has there been anything else done before just raising this fee for us on our taxes? Cities getting together, trying to do more for finding a solution to the recycling problem. Right now we have cans for recycling, but there is no recycling. I know this is to burn. You guys get a tax credit, which then of course comes back to the city. I understand a little bit more as of the preliminary that I just got, but curious how We kind of don't know the information until it's too late. This is my first meeting, so apologize if there's more information. I don't know where to find it or get it. But this is kind of something that we're passionate about because we have kids. When I grew up in school, I mean, we were all about recycling. That was everything in elementary, middle school. You know, this was, we were going to save the planet. And here we are now today, and we have cans. We don't recycle. Nobody really recycles. As far as I know, I don't even know of a place that is getting it done. But the fact that it costs too much to recycle, but yet everyone wants to talk about the planet's running out of natural resources. And I'm just curious, how does it work with the city level? And before we assess taxpayers more money to do something that, how do we do better? That's my question. How do we do better?
Mr. Lemack, would you or Mr. Halsey like to talk about the county committee that's dealing with this, and just to respond to his question?
For the record, Philip Holste, Assistant Town Administrator. So currently, the town is part of a consortium with other Broward County municipalities. There's 28 in total that are looking at coming up a new county-wide disposal system that includes a new recycling. Right now, recycling has increased significantly in cost. So, for example, right now, if you recycle a ton of waste, it costs you $150. If you take it to the waste to energy, it's roughly $50, $55. So it costs triple to recycle versus doing disposal. In light of that, Broward County with the other municipalities, we are working on that master plan over the next 2 years to identify how we can bring back recycling, not just in a way that is cost feasible, but that is done the right way, because the other problem we were experiencing with recycling was commingling, where people would put in non-recyclable things or they would not recycle it properly. So about 30 to 40% of the recycling was being put in the landfill anyways, because Waste Management handles the recycling. They don't have a waste to energy facility, so it ends up in the landfill at Monarch Hill. So that is in process. So ideally in the next 2 years, we'll have that master plan that will be brought forth back for the town council approval.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And in the meantime, everything that we put in the garbage goes to the waste to energy incinerator on 441. So it eliminates any of that going to the landfill, and when it is burned, it's turned into credits for electricity. So at least we're getting some benefit out of it, and to know that it's not going to the landfill. I know that's what I particularly, and most of my council members were most concerned with, was not to be adding to the landfill. And we're one of only a few municipalities that use that facility.
Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to add there's hope on the horizon, not only through the county's efforts and consortium, but also through the state and federal issues that we're working on collectively. The Florida League of Cities has a really unique opportunity, and they're in the process of, still patent pending, working with NASA, of taking some of the plastic bottles and glass and making an aggregate that can be used in the future for whatever we want, whether it's for sidewalks, roads, or planters, or other construction materials. And that's in the process of a test. They want to make sure that the plastics are made with petroleum, that there's no leaching into the environment. So they're studying the environmental impacts on all of that before we go forward with some type of recycling to that effort only, which would be plastics and glass. I know that the mayor has been working on some issues that she has close to her heart that go back in history of a way that you kind of, use materials in the past. And she'll probably talk about that. And we've had discussions on that, on trying to use it in our farm park. And the mayor is taking that initiative to try to see if it works for us for that and be a test model for us locally on some of these issues. It's frustrating for many of us who, like you said, and our children who grow up and we try to get them to recycle, but when others just put pizza boxes and other contaminated recyclables, we were getting too much contaminated and it was becoming cost prohibitive. So there's a good video out there that talks about recycling and the issue that happened and why we're in this predicament, not just because of that, but going way back where China was caught. they used to take our recycling, but China was caught dumping these in the ocean because they didn't want the contaminated materials. And we got blamed for it, although we were paying them to take it. So finally, full circle, they said they don't want our stuff anymore. So that kind of stopped the United States from recycling. It's a bigger picture, too.
Thank
So,
you.
But
Thank
yeah,
you.
hope's on the horizon.
I had to wait a minute, a little levity here. When you said partnering with NASA, I thought they were going to do a
Ship it to the moon.
landfill on the moon. So.
To the moon, Alice. Remember that? No,
Yeah,
we're not.
and the one thing that I've been talking about for many years is a biodigester, and this is a product that we had one in the town of Davie working for a while, and it showed the effectiveness of turning the waste into electricity, and the byproduct was a fertilizer, organic fertilizer. So we're going to have a digester again at the farm park to use as an example, but I've also brought it up to Commissioner Geller at a recent meeting that we had, and hopefully this will be passed on to this larger committee. I know as a member of the Conference of Mayors of the United States, I've been to a number of conferences where there are some cities throughout the country, especially in New England, that work totally and have been doing for 20 years off of digesters because there's no land there to do a landfill. So it can be done. It has been done. It might cost a little more money, but in the long run, the sustainability is probably more important. So that's something that, I'm working on as well. So we're not letting this go. So we'll find a solution. I'm sure of it. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. We already talked. Does anybody else want to say anything? Okay. Could I have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
In a second, we have a roll call, please.
Mayor Paul,
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lewis.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. This closes the public hearing portion of the meeting. Oh, guys, I told you 5 minutes, but it was 12, so. If there are no objections, the meeting is adjourned.